I'm more concerned with the human condition and how we can improve it. That's the question. The answer? Evolve. Am I my brother's keeper? Yes. Good morning, Columbia, South Carolina, and of course to everyone who is listening to us via the web. Welcome to Evolve, and I am your host, Tazima, on this wonderful Friday, and I'm telling you, it is going to be an awesome show. I know yesterday I mentioned that today we would pick up where we left off with open lines. However, today I have the pleasure and the honor to have a special guest in the studio all the way from Tanzania, Africa, by way of Kansas City, Kansas, okay? Now, listen, there is an old saying that relates to being born an American citizen but not being treated like one. And it was popularized by Malcolm X, and it goes like this. A cat can have kittens in an oven, but that don't make them biscuits. There are still too many who don't fully understand the truth of what Malcolm X was saying here, the truth of what being an African American born in a country and looked upon as the other, the truth of being tolerated, but in many cases never fully accepted or recognized as being human, with human desires, human struggles, human needs. So my guest today truly gives meaning to what it is to be an African American, literally. So much so that a film has been made about her, and that film is titled Momma C, Urban Warrior in the African Bush, which explores Charlotte O'Neal's decades-long project of coming to terms with who she is, an African-American raised in Kansas City, Kansas, the jazz capital of the world, who has lived most of her life in Africa, the place from where her ancestors were forced to make the Middle Passage. When she first arrived in Tanzania, she tried as hard as she could to fit in, wearing congas, carrying my babies on my back, baskets on my head, chewing sugarcane sticks. And then I'm quoting her as she writes this in one of her published poems. And my freshly landed just off the boat enthusiasm of living in Africa, I tried to blend, to melt, homogenize, disappear, erase the essence of what made me who I am, an African who grew up in and was molded by the hoods of America, and I almost lost myself. That is her quote. I am so excited about this show. So let me finish before I introduce her. Momma C has retained and enriched that self by articulating her lifelong political commitment to peace, unity, and love through the music she writes and performs, the poetry or spoken word, pieces she composes, and the art, and it's beautiful art. I've seen it. Some of it anyway, the art she creates from fabrics and found items. So without further ado, Momma C, it is definitely a pleasure and an honor to have you as a guest today on Evolve.
Well, I am honored to be here, sister, and this is my first time in Columbia, and I must say I love the name of your program, Evolve.
Thank you.
You know, because that's what it's about, isn't it?
It is about that.
I love that.
It is about that. So, I know that today you are coming from this place of love and wisdom.
Yeah.
And sometimes I think that only time offer that to us because of the struggles that we have to go through.
Yeah.
So I want you to explain to the audience, how did you make the journey from Kansas City?
Yes.
Okay. And I don't mean anything funny by this, but I didn't even know there were African Americans in Kansas City,
yes.
Kansas.
Oh, yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So How did you make the transition from Kansas City to Tanzania?
Yes, it's you know the movie The Wiz, and where they say you're not in Kansas anymore, Dorothy, and it's still, even after more than 40 years, it still surprises me sometimes when I wake up and we live in the foothills of Mount Meru, which is the third tallest mountain in Africa.
Wow.
And 30 miles from Mount Kilimanjaro, and sometimes I say, I really ain't in Kansas anymore, and what brought myself and my husband on that long journey was as a result of being members of the Black Panther Party. My husband was the chair of the Kansas City chapter of the Black Panther Party, and when I was in high school, at Wyandotte High School, and I was very much into Black history, and I had joined the Kansas City School of Human Dignity and all that, and then I started seeing these daily broadcasts that featured the Black Panthers, know, and I was like, wow, and I was very much drawn to them, and it wasn't the fact that these brothers were so fine in their dark glasses and their berets and their leather jackets, and they were really standing up for something. It wasn't just that. Because I found when I started going, they were in Kansas City, Missouri, and I was in Kansas City, Kansas, and I would ride across the viaduct. And I would start going to some of the programs there, the community outreach programs, including the Breakfast for School Children program, which was something that all chapters were required to have. I said, man, these brothers and sisters are really about something, and that's what drew me.
And a lot of people don't even know that program was initiated by the Black Panthers. There's so much misinformation surrounding who the Black Panthers are and what they stood for. Can you touch on that a little bit?
I would love to. It's so funny because everywhere I go, and it's in all communities, it's almost as if that history is being swept under the rug. And, I always say it's the news media who really painted us in a very negative light.
Vicious.
And I think one of the reasons for that was because we believed in self-defense. This is how the Black Panther Party first came about. It was because when Huey Newton and Bobby Seale and some of the brothers out in Oakland would observe how there was so much police brutality in the community and how people were being arrested unjustly. And so they started studying law. And they would have their law books, and they would stand the required distance away when people were getting arrested, and they would read them their rights. And that didn't go down well with the authorities, right? But that is how the Black Panther Party first started. And then we started seeing that there were so many needs in the community that needed to be addressed, and one of the most obvious need was the fact that so many children were going to school without breakfast. And of course, everyone knows if you haven't had enough nourishment, it's hard to concentrate, And when I realized that the majority of Panthers were teenagers, maybe up to 30-something, from all walks of life. You had brothers and sisters who were college students. You had teachers. You had doctors and lawyers. You had people from the streets.
And see, that part is never, ever touched on.
That's
never
discussed.
That's
But luckily, there are many Panthers who are writing their autobiographies, including me. And so this is coming to the fore, all of this, But the thing that another thing that is kind of a sore point for me is the fact that the news media tried to paint us as being racist. We were anything but that, sister. The Black Panther Party, one of the tenets of the Black Panther Party was that we must have relationships and build solidarity with all communities. It was about poor and oppressed people. And when I say all communities, we didn't even limit ourselves to America. We were talking about relating to people all over the world, building international solidarity. And to this day, that is how my husband and myself live our life. We have the United African Alliance Community Center. People come from all over the world, all walks of life, all different races and nationalities, you know. My husband still calls me a black hippie. And he probably is right in some ways, because I am a person who thoroughly believes in peace and love. I think that is why I am on this planet.
You know
in
what?
This lifetime.
This is why as soon as I met you, the heart connection is there, because a lot of the things that you talk about are some of my same experiences.
Yes.
And I've been accused of being a black hippie too.
Hey, you know.
Because for me, it is about love. At the end of the day, it is about love.
That's what it is.
You know. So what do you think? And then I'm going to go to the phone lines. Well, let me give out the number real quick. 748-9293, 748-9293. And we have Momma C. She's lovingly referred to as Momma C, all the way from Tanzania, Africa, to talk with us today on Evolve. And there is a film featuring her. It is about her struggles, her evolution.
Yes.
And that film, we're going to talk a little bit more about that too.
Okay.
But what I wanted to ask you, what do you think, or how do you think it was that now when you mention the Black Panther Party, people are repelled by that whole image or the idea of what that was supposed to be?
Yeah.
And I'm not quite sure if the new Black Panther Party has anything to do with that, because my position, and this is in my opinion, I don't believe that the new Black Panther Party is anything like the original Black Panther Party. So how do you think that it just got to this place now? Do you really think it was media? Was it government influence? Was it ignorance? How did it get to that place?
It was all of the above, actually. And when you say government influence, it was definitely a part of that, because there was this program that was put in place called COINTELPRO, the Counterintelligence Insurgency Program.
That's right.
Which, I mean, J. Edgar Hoover, who was the head of the FBI then, his main thing was to bring down the Black Panther Party, and not only the Black Panther Party, Students for Democratic Society, the Weathermen, and all kind of progressive organizations. Now, you would think that people who were trying to build solidarity and unity and build peace and love, you would think they would be encouraged.
Right.
But it wasn't like that, you know. And my husband, I keep saying my husband, his name is Pete O'Neal. and he has been my husband, my partner, my comrade for 44 years.
Wow.
44 years we've been together, you know. And this is one of the reasons why we left. Because he was also a victim of COINTELPRO.
While you left Kansas?
While we left Kansas City, yes. Because he had been convicted of carrying a gun across state lines, something that everybody would. If you know anything about Kansas City, Kansas and Kansas City, Missouri, you know that there isn't a apparent border in most places. It's just a line down the highway, right? People would hunt. People would do this, and I mean, he used to even hunt with some of his friends who were police, you know. But because he went to the Senate with some information that was on the chief of police of Kansas City, shortly after that he was arrested. And this was a newly enacted law about carrying guns across the state line there, and that's all it was. That's all it was, and he received 4 years on that.
Wow.
You know, and in those days, and that hasn't changed much, once they had the leaders, they would keep piling on charges.
That's right.
So when we left in 1970, and I was 19 years old, can you believe that?
Wow.
I was 19 years old, couldn't tell anybody we were leaving.
Wow.
Couldn't tell my parents. They didn't even know where I was for like 2 months.
Wow.
And all of these articles were in the paper. Pete O'Neal has been assassinated. It's Pete and Charlotte O'Neal are in Mexico. They're here, they're there.
Wow.
But actually, we were on our way to Algeria.
Okay.
Which was the international section of the Black Panther Party that was established by Eldridge Cleaver and Kathleen Cleaver, who is now a law professor at Yale. I think it's Yale or Harvard or somewhere. And many of our comrades were there. And then from there, we went to Tanzania.
Wow, we're going to have to talk about that experience, too.
Okay.
I'm already, listen, see, and you have to leave. You're going back to Africa, but I'm just sitting here like, okay, you can't go. You have to stay. But we're going to go to the phone lines, too. Okay, caller, you're on the air. Caller? All right, caller, you can call back 748-9293, 748-9293 if you hear me. So tell us, what was it like when you first got to Africa?
It was a really different experience. But for me, because I had been, I had studied African history. We used to call it Black history back in the day.
Right, okay.
African history, and I always had an affinity to the cultures of Africa. So when we got off that plane, it was like I was home. I just loved it. My husband, who was more of an urban type brother, he had a little problem at first because it was so different. And I want to tell your listeners, there's a very well-known documentary that's focused on his life called A Panther in Africa. It's on PBS all the time on Global Voices, and it's on Netflix, and it's gotten so many awards, People's Choice Award, and all kinds of things. So this focuses on my husband, Pete O'Neal, and our lives.
Now, say that, the name of the documentary.
A Panther in Africa by Aaron Matthews.
Okay.
Yes.
Hold on, Momma C.
Okay.
Let's try to get this caller in.
Okay.
Okay, caller, you're on the air. Oh, I'm sorry, caller, you're on the air.
Hey, Zima.
Hey, Obsidian.
I have to, for one thing, a very heartfelt sent greeting to your guest there. I cannot recall her name right now, so my apologies.
That's okay.
Charlotte O'Neal.
Charlotte O'Neal.
Or you can call me Momma C if you want.
Oh, that works. I commend her on her travels and so forth, and she really should not have to worry about changing anything about herself, regardless of where she goes, unless she's doing it just simply out of respect. To go through what she has experienced, I'm impressed.
Wow.
Well, thank you for that. And I came to that realization also in the excerpt of the poem that Sister Tazima was reading. It talks about that, how I finally realized that my history is just as valid as anyone who was born on the continent, because I used to really feel almost embarrassed at having been born in America and not on the continent. Well, I said, hey, this is me. I know that I'm making a wonderful, heartfelt contribution to the world, and if somebody doesn't like it, then pole sana. Pole sana means I'm very sorry about that. And I just keep going. We speak Kiswahili in Tanzania, and of course English also, so pole sana is, that's Kiswahili.
Oh, I'm impressed that you actually speak that language.
Oh, yes, I do. But you must consider that I've lived in Tanzania since 1972. So if I didn't know the language by now, but something people always say, you can probably hear my accent.
Yes.
It's still tinged with southern. It's a southern and Midwest accent. So a lot of times people will say, Momma C, your English still sounds like, it's southern. I say, well, that's the only English I ever knew. So even my Kiswahili has a southern accent, which is pretty funny.
All right.
It is. If I was there, I would give you a royal high five.
Okay, all right. Well, thank you.
I'll have to let the Zima do that.
All right. Okay, Obsidian, thank you.
Sister.
Later.
Yes.
Yes, so telling us, Oh, okay. I'll make that announcement. I have a friend of mine who actually set this up, Sophia. You guys have heard Sophia. She's been on the show several times. She just passed me a note. And so Momma C is actually going to be speaking at Columbia College today at 1 o'clock. I will be there.
Okay, good.
And I hope you guys come out as well. So she'll be speaking today at 1 o'clock at Columbia College. But tell us now through your eyes and your experience, we have to have that experience of Africa. You know, so many times one of my dreams is to go to Africa. But when you look in the news and you see all the violence, all the carnage and what's happening with children, I mean, it's really, it can be very, very frightening. Mm-hmm. Okay, so what is happening in Tanzania right now?
And you know, that is another, I have so many sticking points, but that's one of them, is the way the news media, again, gives people a misconception of what Africa is. Okay. You know, it's not about children with big bellies and flies around their eyes. It's not about people hacking up each other. That, of course, happens in some places, but it's such a small percentage of the continent that where we live and where most people live is leading happy lives, productive lives. You know, I tell you, I wouldn't be there 40-something years if it was the way the news media depicts it.
That's a good point, yes.
I want to kind of describe, if it's okay,
yes, please,
where we live. We live in a village called Mbasani. Like I said, it's in the foothills of Mount Meru, 30 miles from Mount Kilimanjaro, which I think many of your listeners have probably heard of.
Yes.
It's a peaceful place. We live like at 5,000 feet in a Wameru village. You know, we have a children's home there. We have classes for youth and elders in our community.
And when you say you, this is something you and your husband founded, right?
Yes,
okay.
We founded that, the United African Alliance Community Center.
Okay.
All of our teachers are volunteers. The spirit of volunteerism there is so strong. That is, again, a legacy of the Black Panther Party. Everything we did as Panthers was volunteer. My husband likes to say, we're still doing programs and that we learned as members of the Black Panther Party, but without a political line.
Okay.
And it's true, being a Panther made such an impact on my life, on my whole psyche, how I deal with people, and all of this flows into the work that we do. We have daily English classes, we have computer classes. This is in a village, and we brought the internet to that village.
Wow.
We brought electricity to that village. We brought water to that village, and we don't get funding, sister.
Wow.
You know, it's like, every time we get almost down to our last shilling, that's the kind of money we use, shillings, not dollars. It's like something happens. It's like manna from heaven.
Yep.
You know.
Exactly.
And one of our comrades, Brother Geronimo Jijaga, which some of your listeners might know of.
Yes.
He was another victim of COINTELPRO.
Yep.
And was locked in prison for 27 years.
Exactly.
When he emerged from prison, the government paid him several $1 million in compensation.
Okay.
And when he got out, he went to his comrades from all over the world and asked, what can I do to assist your community work? One of one of our most pressing needs then was water. He plopped down $10,000 just like that for us to build to dig a well.
Wow.
Dug a well, and before we took even a drop of water, we made sure that our community has, and to this day, our community uses that water.
Wow.
You know, yes, you know.
That is so powerful.
Yes.
Momma C, we got to go back to the phone line.
Okay.
You know, if I don't remember to go to the phone lines, I won't take commercial breaks or talk to anybody. Okay, caller, you're on the air.
Salutations to Zima.
Oh, greetings, Sheldon. How are you?
Greetings to you. And Momma C, God bless you, Hotep, Namaste, and Habari Ghani. I greet you with honor, and I just wanted to let you know that I'm enjoying what you're saying, and you know, and thank you for your struggles because of what you did that helps me to survive. A lot.
Thank you.
A lot. Yes, ma'am. There's a lot that Tazima knows about me and doesn't, and a lot of callers. I was actually born in Wichita, but I'm not. I don't call myself being from there. I was born there in '61. My dad, he's a 30-year Air Force career vet. I call myself more like a citizen of the world than a citizen of a state.
That's how I feel, too.
Or of a city and all that. Because I lived in Turkey, 65 and 73, and then I've lived all over the East. Tazima's real acquainted with my colorful background, military, and afterwards, soldiering as the Air Force cop special operations and everything.
Yes.
What I really wanted to ask you, Momma C, because I'm a true fighter, Andy Rooney wrote a really disparaging column about Dr. Newton after he had lost his life that day in California. And a lot of heartburn I get because in the military, in '84, I started really standing, on a lot of issues for the motherland, and it got me in trouble with Uncle Sam, particularly with the issue of apartheid and, the different charitable kind of activities that are going out there, like collecting keys to fight apartheid, and went to my base commander and all that, and he kept saying, Sergeant Rice can't do that, that's partisan politics and all that. A lot of people were losing their lives. Chief Mandela was in jail, the ANC was being banned and all that and everything. Right. And what I wanted to know, Momma C, is Andy Rooney, in his column that he wrote about Dr. Newton, he said something like, the black community needs better leaders than, a Black Panther or something. I can't think of the title. I have it in my archive somewhere and everything like that. But the problem I run into people when I'm trying to explain that the Black Panthers, like you say, and you're a Black Panther, so you know and your husband, but
Sheldon,
always.
Well, Sheldon, I'm sorry, hon. We need you to really get to the question because we only have so much time left, and I have some other things I need to ask her. So
yes, ma'am.
Can you ask her what is your question?
Okay, they always say the Black Panthers hated the police, and a lot of police got killed in the actions between the Black Panthers and then the police officers and everything like that. And I want to know, Momma C, how can I fight that debate saying that they were at a war? It was COINTELPRO. The police were fighting the Panthers. They were murdering the Panthers in their sleep and everything. Yeah. And if you'd address that, Momma C, it would help me. And
well, it's unfortunate that that things like that happen. That is so very unfortunate. And I'm sure that there is not a Panther who would feel like they wanted something like that to happen. The thing was self-defense. It was self-defense. And if all I can say is we were not people who wanted violence to happen. Not even a little thing. We were peace-loving people, and we're still peace-loving people. And the point you made about being considered a citizen of the world, I feel the same way. And if more of us felt like that, I think that would lessen a lot of the tensions that borders, these artificial borders cause. So please, I want everyone to know that even then we were peace-loving people, and now we are peace-loving people.
Well, you know what? On that note, I'm going to take a commercial break so I don't forget. But we do have Charlotte O'Neal, or lovingly known as Momma C, in the studio with us. And there is a documentary made on her, and that is called Momma C, Urban Warrior in the African Bush. I'm going to take this one last call before I go into commercial break, and then I have to go into commercial break. Okay, caller, you're on the air.
Yes, thank you.
Yes, you're on the air.
Okay.
You're on the air.
Okay, first of all, I want to thank Momma C for all the things that she does in Tanzania.
Thank you.
Got to interface with her last night. This is Bangwa.
Okay.
Oh, Bangwa.
Yes, sister. Good to hear your voice.
Thank you.
Yes.
I just wanted to say a lot of people don't realize that the Black Panther Party wanted unity across all racial lines.
That's right.
Not just among ourselves.
That's
they wanted to change all of the negative conditions in America, and they really wanted housing, peace, justice, love and education, clothing, and people who needed all of that.
Yes.
So they weren't out about negative stuff. They were only using weapons because they were fighting back.
That's right.
retribution, so to speak.
That's right.
And also, somebody called in about how Africa is portrayed in the news. I think Sister Tazima mentioned that.
Yeah, I did.
All of that is planned.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
They always show the negative things about Africa, but they
Yes.
never contribute positive facts about Africa and all the good things about the continent.
That's true.
Great
Yeah,
point.
That's true.
And that's pitiful, too, because it makes so many of our people feel the same way who are not conscious and don't have the knowledge of the motherland.
That's very true. So it is up to us who are the knowers, to spread that word and
That's right.
that positivity. That is our duty to do that. Isn't that right,
Yes,
sister?
it is.
Yes.
And of all the negative things that do go on, you know who's in the middle of it, right?
Huh.
Always Europeans in America.
Hey.
Any conflict is going on in the motherland.
It's unfortunate.
Yeah, so sister, stay strong and looking forward to seeing you today at Columbia College.
Oh,
if I can.
okay, sister.
Thank you,
And thank you
Yes.
too, Sister Tazima, for all you do.
Thank you, Bangwa.
All right, peace and love.
Peace and love. That is so funny hearing from Bangwa, because Bangwa is so known in the community. And when I first moved to South Carolina, I had the opportunity to meet her. And this was many moons ago. And I will never forget Bangwa and what she did for me. I had braids in my hair. I used to have locks. I had braids in my hair. And she said, well, sister, no one is really going to take you serious until you let your hair do what it should naturally do.
Yes.
Okay?
Yeah.
And I'll never forget that. And then she taught me how to make African clothing just by folding the fabric. And from that, I learned I've made all my clothing. I still do.
Wow.
And so
Yes.
she gave me something that is so valuable. I'll never be able to give her thanks. And it was because of her that I really, really, really began studying more about my history and my ancestry
Yes.
and understanding what that all means to me, and was able to pass that on to my children
That
too.
is beautiful.
So Bangwa, if you're still listening, and I hope you are, thank you so much, because you have definitely been someone of importance in my life.
That's beautiful.
Thus far. So we are going to go into commercial break. I know this show is it's almost over. Okay.
Oh, no.
But we're when we come back, you're going to read your poem. We're going to open up with your poem.
All right.
So let me pull this up real quick. All right, everybody, you are listening to Evolve on WOIC 1230 Columbia. I'm Tazima in the studio today with Charlotte O'Neal, lovingly known as Momma C, and she is all the way here from Africa. All right, everybody, welcome back. You are listening to Evolve on WOIC 1230 Columbia. I'm Tazima. Look, I'm so nervous. I forgot my name. I'm just I am Tazima, and I'm in the studio today with Charlotte O'Neal, who's also known as Momma C. And she's all the way here from Tanzania, Africa, by way of Kansas City, Kansas. And there's a documentary on her, Urban Warrior of the African Bush, which explores her decades-long project of coming to terms with who she is, an African-American raised in Kansas City, and was forced, technically, to have to leave the country and move to Africa. But the journey has been one of interest and one of well-being, and one that is I'm going to Tanzania, okay?
Yes.
That's the bottom line. So anyway, you know what? We've already got a call, but call out got you on hold. Momma C, I wanted you to open up this segment with your poem.
Okay, I would love to do that, but could I just 1 second?
Yes.
This is my first time in Columbia, and I'm being hosted by Real Black Picks. It's a film festival, and Sister Sophia and Baba Sayutu have been the ultimate hosts, and I want your listeners to know that tonight we're going to be at Taste of Jamaica.
That's right.
And it's going to be a global African jam session and dance, so you all bring your acts if you're a musician, and bring your dancing shoes, and it starts at 7 o'clock, and there's also going to be a screening of Marley. I can't wait to see that. Yes, so please tell your listeners to come out. And Columbia is actually actually my first stop for the Heal the Community tour. I'm going to be here 3 months traveling in the States.
Okay.
And in between my travels, I'm going to Ghana for the first time.
Oh, wow.
Yes, as a guest of the French Cultural Center for International Women's Month. So I'm so happy to be here.
Yes.
Yeah, it's kind of cold here, but other than that, the reception has been so warm and loving, and I just give thanks to Sister Sophia and Baba Saitu, and we jammed last night too.
Yeah.
Your listeners might know I'm a musician.
Yeah, we didn't. Well, we touched on that briefly. It's so much to you. Okay, there is so much to talk to you about. So we touched on that briefly.
Yes.
But yes, you are a musician and a poet.
I'm a musician and a poet and a visual artist. As a matter of fact,
that's right. Yeah.
If you all ever go to Atlanta and you know Spelman College, of course, I have one of my pieces on permanent exhibition there in the Camille Cosby Women's Center.
Okay.
Yeah, so I exhibit my work all the time, you know.
Gosh,
and I just
you are
love
truly
it.
a Renaissance
Well,
woman.
I just love it. Yes.
Okay, so let me let you read your poem, and then we're going to go to the phone lines.
All right, that's fine. I might have to do an excerpt, I don't know. But throughout the film, there are excerpts from this poem, I Almost Lost Myself. Okay. And you actually did a little of it, but I'm going to start again if that's okay.
Yes.
It used to amaze me that even though pre-dreadlock, dressed in conga from head to toe, carrying my babies on my back, basket on my head, chewing sugarcane sticks and pepper sprinkled muhogo roast, just like everybody else. Before I even opened my mouth to speak, they could somehow tell that I was someone else, different, other than. I couldn't hide it, even though I tried, and I almost lost myself. In my freshly landed, just got off the boat enthusiasm of living in Africa, I tried to blend, to melt, homogenize, disappear, erase the essence of what made me who I was and am, an African who grew up in and was molded by the hoods of America, and I almost lost myself. I almost lost the distinctive stride that signals she ain't from here. Ana toka mahali and Guinea bwana. I almost lost my fierce, laughing in your face sister tone of voice, and my hands on hips, finger waving, snake charming. You ain't about to tell me I can't. Neck moves. I tucked that me tightly under my conga wraps and demure gaze and soft, gentle handshake, and I almost lost it in giving it up. But I woke up just in time and place and attitude. That's just an excerpt, you all. The poem is pretty long. The book is Warrior Woman of Peace, and you can find it on lulu.com. But, you know, in this finding myself, we have had such a journey. We've been homesteaders, real pioneers in the African bush, and that has led us now to doing our community work, which is a continuation of the work we did as Black Panthers.
That poem is so powerful.
Yeah,
gosh, that is so powerful. I got to get that book too. Okay, we're going back to the phone lines. Caller, you on the air.
Hey, salutations again to Zima. This is Sheldon. The Lord works in mysterious ways. I just got off the phone with Baba C.A. and representative of Sister Sophia. So, Momma C, they greet you warmly, and I'll pass on where you're going to be at, because Baba C.A. wanted to call in, but he was with his children out and about, and he wasn't able to get to the phone.
Okay.
So I extend the greetings from him through me to you.
Thank you, and I hope to see you.
It's a great honor. I'm going to try to be out there, too. Thank you so much, Tazima, for having Momma see ya.
Thank you. All right.
Thank you, brother.
Yeah, so, okay, a little bit more about Tanzania, because you're doing so much there.
It's true. And I feel like we're planting seeds because we really are. You know, I want to tell you about our Leaders of Tomorrow children's program.
Yes.
Leaders of Tomorrow is our children's home. We don't like to say orphanage, because that has a kind of a negative connotation.
That's right.
We are raising 22 children. Some of them don't have parents, and some of them come from destitute homes. These children, we started this program. My husband founded this program 4 years ago.
Okay.
These children, they're from the age of 7 to 13, 14. All of them are doing excellent in school. Several of them are number one in their classes.
Wow.
We have tutors for them. We make sure that they do their yoga. We make sure that they're very artistic. You know, they are a part of the community. You know, this is one of our most heartfelt programs.
Right.
Leaders of Tomorrow.
That's right.
And you know, your listeners can check out our website, which unfortunately is kind of out of date, but you can still get a taste of what we're doing at if you just Google my name, Charlotte O'Neal, or Google my husband's name, Pete O'Neal, it'll take you to our website. Plus we're on Facebook.
Okay.
I keep my Facebook pretty well updated, more than the website. And you can kind of see what we're doing. We host study abroad groups throughout the year. We host artists who come there. We have a recording studio. I'm a part of Wakunga Zabani, which is a newly evolving group of musicians who are really making sure that the indigenous music does not get lost.
Right.
So we're doing that, and in May, during African Liberation Day, we're going to have the grand opening of a newly established museum of indigenous music instruments.
All right,
you know,
well,
it's so
Mama C,
exciting. There's so much going on.
Doing so much. We're going to go back to the phone lines. Okay, caller, you're on the air.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Morning.
Harbari Gani.
Salama.
Hojambo.
Hatujambo.
Much hashima.
Nashukuru sana. I say, unaongea Kiswahili naona. You can speak some Kiswahili very good.
I speak very little though. But sister, I have so many questions, but I'll just ask one. Where is the Taste of Jamaica? Please
okay,
make sure
the
that
Taste of
the audience
Jamaica.
that I know where
Yes,
that is.
it's
Thank you.
Thank you,
Okay.
brother. It's at 3123 Beltline Boulevard. And it starts at 7 o'clock. 3123 Beltline Boulevard, right here in Columbia.
Yes, and you're going to be there starting at 7 o'clock.
At 7 o'clock.
Now, is there a cost for that, or it's $5?
$5 admission, but you're going to see the new screening of the Marley film for free, y'all. And we're going to be jamming, and we invite all musicians to come out and jam with us. I'm going to have a couple of our traditional instruments. Baba Seitu is going to be on the drums and percussions. We're going to be singing and just celebrating life.
Yes.
So
yes.
Karibu, Colombia. Karibu means welcome in Kiswahili.
So we've got about 3 minutes left. So what would you say to the audience here? What is it that you would like to leave us with?
The thing that I would like to leave you all with is the importance of building community through the spread of peace and love. That's what it all boils down to. Taking care of each other, crossing those borders, spreading peace and love, y'all. And all power to the people.
And where can I love you, okay?
Love you
It's
too,
like,
sister.
wow.
Yes.
So how can they get your book?
The book is on lulu.com. I have another book called Life Slices I'll have it tonight. I'll be doing a book signing tonight.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
I want my book.
Yes. I'll be doing a book signing tonight. My other book will be coming out very soon, and my autobiography, be on the lookout for it. Panther in Africa. You can find it on Netflix. I love y'all. I love Colombia. I love people.
Yes.
Let's spread the love. That's why we're here.
And that comes through. And, I thank you so much
for
putting
sister.
correct information out there in reference to the Black Panther Party.
Yes.
For being so open. I mean, your heart is, your energy just filled the studio.
Thank you.
And you can tell that you're coming from a place of love
Yes.
and sharing and community. And we need that so bad,
We do.
because we're losing it.
Yes.
We're so, and a lot of times on the show, I talk about, technology has its place. I mean, there are a lot of good things that came as a result of technology. Like you said, you brought the internet
Yes.
to your village.
Yes.
Okay, so you guys can listen to Evolve because we're on the web.
Ooh, okay.
So that's a wonderful thing. But also the other side of that is that a lot of times we find ourselves disconnecting from one another. The human compassion that we're supposed to have for one another is just like isolated because so many of us are now isolated. So it's just a breath of fresh air. It's truly an honor. I mean it from the bottom of my heart. It has definitely been a privilege.
Thank you, sister.
I'm going to be hanging out with y'all today, so y'all can't get rid of me.
Well, Caribou, that means welcome. And thank you for giving me this opportunity to share.
Definitely.
I appreciate it.
And again, you're going to be at Columbia College today at 1 o'clock. Sophia, is there a fee for that?
No, it's free.
So that's free to the public, you guys. So you could, Taste of Jamaica is happening tonight at 7 o'clock.
Yes.
Real Black Picks is featuring Momma C as well as and Baba C too, as well as the Marley film.
Yes.
And then that's at 7 o'clock at Taste of Jamaica 3123 Beltline. And at 1 o'clock today, Momma C is going to be speaking at Columbia College for Women.
Yes.
And I know where it is, but I don't know the street.
It's on North Main and Columbia College Drive.
North Main
And you
Columbia
can park
College
on Columbia College Drive, and I believe it is Colonial, right across from the white gazebo.
Right.
You can park there, and I think it's in LB 201. I'll definitely text you to let you know, but they should know at the gate if you're asking for Momma C.
Yeah, that sounds good. Okay. Well, anyway, I'm hesitating because I'm looking at the clock and I'm trying to get all the information out. You know what, you guys, everybody who's listening to the show, believe me, she is just amazing. You can just feel her energy from the moment you meet her. And it's like having the opportunity to communicate with someone who's actually had the experience of what most of us would like to have. Maybe we didn't have the courage, maybe we didn't have the funds, maybe something big enough didn't happen to send us back to the continent. But through you, we get a view of what it is to live on the continent. And I just think, I don't know what to say. I thank you so much for being a guest today.
Thank you, sister. Thank you so much.
All right, everybody. Thank you guys for calling in, and thanks to everyone who was listening. And of course, you are listening to Evolve on WOIC 1230 Columbia. I'm Tazima. We'll be in here Monday. Hey, you guys, y'all need to come out to Columbia College and Taste of Jamaica tonight. All right, everybody have a great weekend.